welcome. Happy Friday. Welcome to the commentary zone. My name is Jamal, and today we're talking about Project Runway, Season 19, Episode 12, The Model as the Muse. I was very excited for this challenge. I don't think they've ever done this before. So I'm going to give a few minutes for everyone to get into the room. Hey, Steven, good to see you. Welcome. Let's give it a few more minutes. Hey Yanni, happy Friday, Trey. Give it about 30 more seconds, and then we'll get started with the recap and review. All right, let's get started. So now this challenge was to make an editorial look for Coco Rocha, one of the world's top supermodels and one of the best posers like I've seen since I've been watching these fashion type shows. Now, what makes this challenge different is that there will be no runway. It's purely a photo judging. I'm like, whoa, that could be a twist that could have an effect on the outcome because clothes are judged differently on the runway versus the photo because the runway is purely about the clothes and the design, while the photo takes into account how it looks, how the garment looks, and the surroundings. There's just a lot that goes into that. So I was very curious to see how this play out. Now, the designers, there's five left. We're at our top five. This is fantastic. And each designer, had a pretty cool design in their mind. So I'm going to start with Chastity. Now, as a reminder, the designers have to pick a prop for Coco to work with. So that's another interesting wrinkle. Now, Chastity went with red. Her vibe, her idea was to go Disney villain, aka the misunderstood princess. And I was feeling where she was going with it. I thought she would have done more with her idea. I was picturing more Maleficent, less princessy, but it was okay. Coco came in, she wasn't ready for the fitting. And then Chastity's prop was actually up. She chose the wooden palette, which I thought was great. Now in the workroom, Coral's initial design was a little bit too safe. I agreed with Christian. It was very dressmaker, very cut by numbers, and I'm like, oof, she's gonna have to do something with that. And Christian also pointed out that Coral was in her head too much because she does great work. She's really really good, and her prop was the big fan. Now Chantal was doing a red dress as well. Excuse me. Also, like Chastity, she was not ready for her fitting. I'm so sorry. Oof. My apologies. And her prop was the ladder. Another great choice. Now, on to Bones. As with Bones, per usual, he has too many ideas. You know, as he was fitting with Coco, he wanted to do a head wrap, and both Coco and Christian were like, no, the dress is great. Perfect the dress. And one of the things I did have concern with, and this was brought up, I think, by Bones himself and Coco and Christian, was that the dress would be too tight at her legs, which restricts her movement to the upper body. And in a photo, you kind of want a range of motion to give you more options. And by making the dress the way he did, he really limited his model, who's like I said, one of the best posers ever. So that was a really, really big faux pas, in my opinion. And he had the poi balls that were made out of fabric. Normally they're made with fire, but that we're not trying to have Coco set ablaze and the set ablaze, so these are made of fabric. Christina's look, what my takeaway from this was the paper pants. I'm like, okay, it could work, maybe. And her prop was like the blue container or blue bin on wheels, which I thought was interesting, but I would have just gone with something else. All right, let's see what the chat is saying. All right. Oh, thank you, Trey. Thank you. Steven's here. Trey. Yeah, Coco made everything look good. I mean, everything. I was like, whoa. Love Coco. She's one of the best posters for Detroit. Hands down. Hands down. Hey, JG, welcome. Trey says, I'm rooting for Chastity, but I understood the judge's concern about her consistency and eye for what's modern in fact, modern in fashion. I saw it too, Trey. Especially when they pointed out, you think about it overall. It's like, yeah, she has highs and lows. There's no in between. Bones doing the most did him in, and they were trying to help him too. That was the thing. They were saying, "This is too much. Focus on the dress. Focus on the dress. Focus on the dress," and he just did not do it. And now, to me, that was his downfall. It really, really was. Trey, that Dubs was a weird choice. Hard pass on her prop. Agreed. So now I'm going to bring up the photos so we can go through them. All right, let's start with Chantal. You know, this was a fantastic photo. I mean, everything looks good. Her posing, her angle, the ladder elongated the dress. I mean, to me, for me, this was the clear winner, and it wasn't close, in my opinion. It really wasn't close. Moving on to Coral. Now, for me, I would have liked Coral's dress a little bit more if it had less ruffles. That's my only real critique because the color was perfect. The light hit it perfectly. Coco looks great. The fans doing his thing, and I'm not. I like the photo. I just wish the dress had a few less ruffles, and I think it would have been spot on. I mean, she still wouldn't have beat Chantal, but she'd have been a lot closer, in my opinion. Now, here's the thing. Love the photo. Chastity did a good job on the dress. The problem was it wasn't editorial enough. It was very safe for an editorial shoot, and I think that's what the judges were saying. I really feel if Chastity had pushed herself a little bit more as far as the initial design, I think it would have helped her a whole lot. Like I said, good dress, but it's not editorial enough for what they were looking for. But it looks good. We can't discount Chastity's ability to make clothes. Now moving on to Mr. Bones. Now this was the problem for me. Like the photo he showed, like she's basically Coco static. It's not like she's even moving. You know, the only movement you really see is in this poi fabric ball. You know, in this photo, the lighting is good. You know, because for I guess I'm assuming they enhance the light. Otherwise, you would be able to see all this detail. Because remember, at the photo shoot, they were asking Christian, the judges, if they were able to see the space before they picked the fabric, because basically you could. I think a person this kind of blended in because it's probably darker than what we see. That's what I'm guessing. But I did like the dress. I did like what he did. A few too many ideas, but he did a good job. Now Christina's look. Here's where the photo and the runway um, challenge comes into play because this was a photo challenge, not a runway challenge. And I think Eileen said it best. She's all Christina's look. If it came down the runway, I'd been like meh, but it really works in this photo. Now, to Christina's detriment, she did not pick the best photo because they asked her how she wound up on this particular photo when there were other better frames, and Nina said she's like, I saw your film. There were much better photos than this, and I agree. Now, I'm not wowed by the outfit itself, it photographed and Coco made it look really good. It just worked. And I agree with Coco and the judges. She lucked into this. It wasn't planned. She lucked into it, and you can tell. All right, I want to go into the chat. Let's see what you guys are saying. Uh, yes, Coco tried to tell Bones. I'm so disappointed. I want to see his collection. Same. Debbie said paper pants. Thanks for joining us, Yanni. I totally appreciate it. Chantal is my pick to win. Trey agrees. Debbie says the wind blowing the fabric was dramatic. It was. I mean, that's what saved it, I think. I I feel like the flying part I feel the flying part represented of her childhood saying mama. The yellow just looks like scrambled eggs. That's why I said there were too many ruffles in my opinion. There's like a square dancing dress. Yep, that's basically what the judges said, Debbie. Chastity's dress is boring. Not scrambled eggs. Chastity needed spikiness. She needed, like I said, when I think Disney Princess going wrong, I think Maleficent's the first thing goes into my mind, but Maleficent was actually a fairy, not a princess, but I'm going to kind of throw them together. I think she'd like done something dramatic with like maybe some wings or maybe a cape, something to give us something, but it was just pretty much a dress, a dress and a corset. That's pretty much really what it was. It was giving high fashion flamenco dancer, Debbie. Why is the blue dress eating cocoa? Debbie, if you're talking about Bones' dress, I think it's because he made it so restrictive. That's why. It had like no volume. He was going for something different. It looked great, but it did not photograph well because she didn't have a range of motion to work with because she was so restricted. Mixo Chacha and those full body and those full body sleepwear. Debbie can see what Trey's talking about. Steven's kind of laughing at what Debbie said. I thought Christina's was awful. Steven, I think if this were not a photo challenge, she would have gone home because Bones was the better garment. But this is about how everything works together, how it looks in a photo. And when you put the photos up side by side, which I'll do, Christina's photo was better than Bones' photo. Christina's just was too horizontal. It was a bit boxy. It was okay, but the flamenco didn't do anything for me. Maybe if the fan was on and Coco did a different pose. Coco tried to say to not. Oh, sorry, everyone. Coco tried to say not to connect the shoulder, leave it up and pointy onto Ashley. Agreed. So now going back to the photos. Now, Chantal, this is Chantal, and this is Coral. These were your top two designs. In my opinion, Chantal being the winner was the right choice. What about you guys? I just want to get your guys' thoughts before I move on. All right, let's see. Trey says Chantal needs to tone out her competitive edge just a bit. She wants to feel included by the designers, in my opinion. Yeah, she's very competitive and it's not very warming. They like her. It's just I think with her, she's at that point where she's so focused on winning and she can feel like she's the front runner. It's overtaking her a little bit because she's going for the win. You can go for the win and still be competitive, but still be like a little bit not so rough around the edges. I think it's a turn off, and that's why she's feeling the way she's feeling. Because right now she's clearly the top designer going into the finale. You know, provided she doesn't completely flop on the next challenge, she's totally fine. Because the week that she was supposed to be sent home, the only reason why she was going to be sent home is because Christina had immunity. So we can't forget that. She just needs to stick to her game plan. Um, stick to what she's doing because they love it. We love it. Like, focus on that. Like, at this point, top four, there's really no friends. Only one can win. Do you, because doing you has put you, honestly, if we're being really honest, we took the competition as a whole leaps and bounds above everyone else. Right now, I have Chantal 1, Coral 2, Chastity 3, and Christina 4. That's where I see them right now. And Chantel being number one, there's quite a bit of a gap between her and Coral. So I want her to focus on what she's doing and not being worried about how people see you because they don't dislike you. It's just easier to help other people because at this stage of the game, helping you since you're so far ahead can do the other designers a detriment. So don't take it personally. Take it. I think she should take it as a compliment that they feel like they don't need to help her because she's always on point. She's always like she's never rushing, you know. Even on this garment, she didn't seem rushed and it came out spectacular. So Chantal, push through, push forward, focus on you. Now we're gonna go to the bottom. Chastity, in my opinion, she's in the bottom because it was very safe and not as editorial as they would want it to be. Then we have Bones. For me, Bones, your model wasn't comfortable. Plus, he kind of turned off the photo crew with him giving Coco every single note in the book, and it became frustrating because it made the shoot longer and more arduous with every click having a note to it. So I think that factored in as well. We can't forget that's part of the challenge. And then Christina was in the bottom basically because of her prop choice and the overall outfit in person wasn't really that impressive. But we're going to talk about that in a moment. So before I go on, let me check the comments one more time. JG, completely agree, but it's a competition. They're not to make friends. Absolutely. It's just Chantal just felt some sort of way about it, so I kind of just need her to not worry about that. Like it's too late in the game to be worried about friends. If you wanted to worry about friends, you should worry about that on episode 1. We are on episode 12. Yeah, most of your people who are your friends are gone. It's just you. Do you? All right. Let me get back. All right. So these are the bottom three: Chastity, Bones, and Christina. Didn't think Chastity wasn't going to go home because it was well made and it looked good overall in the photo. Now, if this were a runway challenge, I think Bones would stay because to me, his garment was better than Christina's. But problem is, this was a photo challenge. So you have to compare which photo was better. And in my opinion, Christina's photo was better. Then you have to take into account that Bones' photo shoot didn't go that well due to him with all the notes and him upsetting the crew. So, based on the criteria of this challenge alone, I agree with Christina saying. I really do. It's sad to say because I like Steven. I wanted to see Bones' collection and what he could do with a good deal of time and a good budget, but he just missed the mark on this one, and it is disappointing. Now, I want to know what you guys in the chat do. You just taking the criteria of the challenge alone, not who you like or who you want to see more of? Do you agree with Bones going home? I do. Steven, I love the mama photo. It's like her soul is soaring. Hey, Larger, welcome. Bones' look would have worked on the runway if the bottom was loose enough for the model to walk in, minus the drag. I agree, and that's where the challenge did him in, because it was a photo challenge and not a runway challenge. So before I wind this up, I just want to know: do you guys agree with Bones going home this one? Only sticking to the criteria of the challenge. I'll give you guys like a minute or two before we sign off. All right, so Debbie agrees with Bones going home. Yes, happy Friday. We love having you here, Larger. Thank you so much. Good to see you. Trey agrees. Oh, and thanks for another wonderful week recap. Oh, my pleasure. This is one of my favorite shows. Steven says hello to Larger. Larger thinks Bones lost brand score. Yep, he did. It's a shame too, but he did so much and came so far, so I am happy for him. Uh, Larger says hello to Steven. Chastity was done already. You know what, Steven? What it is with Chastity, her highs hit her at the right point in the competition, and she can make clothes. That's really what it comes down to at this point. She can make clothes, and her highs have been really good. And we like the last image with the green pants. Yes, see, Christina's. Yes, Debbie. See, Christina's photo was better. It's not the clothes that were better. When you put the photos up, she won fair and square. Largest says, I hated that, but he did. Bones is gonna be great things. He's gonna do great things. I agree. All right, everyone. Thank you so much for joining me. This was Project Runway, season 19, episode 12. You know, Coco was a great Muse. The model as Muse is the perfect title for this episode because she really was. I mean, honestly, she made all their clothes look great, and this was a great challenge because to me, this actually leveled off the playing field. Like Bones said, they got to use the same model, and you got to see what it's all about, and they all did well. Chastity fell short, but I'm relieved she got to make it to the final four. She fell short, but her photo still was better than Christina and Bones' photo, and we can't deny that. Chantal is good at finished work. Well, mate, agreed. All right, everyone. Happy Friday. Have a wonderful weekend. Stay safe, and we'll see you on Monday. Have a great weekend. Bye.